Yes, Douglas, we are live. Hello, everybody. As you can tell, I'm a little excited about my show tonight. Um, I, thank you, Doug, for Doug Scarborough. Thank you so much for making the connection with me and Rebekka. I do see Rebekka in a lot of the same chats when we're watching some of the videos and that we watch together. And we always bounce off each other here and there and talk to each other. Very excited to have her on tonight. But before I get to talk about Rebekka really quick, I just want to say I'm repping the Conjuring House. I'm supporting everybody. Please go and listen, and Jay will sign it for you if you want him to. So Jay signed mine for me. He very sweet of him to do that. But you know what's funny is TCH is my initials. So I love that. Taryn Christine Hamby. Used to be Kerper, but I got married. So now it's Hamby. So TCH. Anyway, so go check out their merch store because they have like such awesome. This sweatshirt is so comfortable and so awesome. So anyway, besides all that. So let me say hi really quick. Kristen is here. Hey, Kristen. Love and love you. Zombie. Hey, Zombie. How are you? I will be a bit late. May have to watch back. That's okay. And then Zombie says, but I'm wishing my girl the best of luck. You're going to kill it. Rebekka's in the background. I'm sure she's hearing me and hearing what I'm saying. Doug is saying hi. Frank Mitchell, hello. Very excited. Me too. Me too. Destination Spooky. Awesome channel, by the way, people. Go love and sub to that channel. He's amazing. Hey, Vic. T-Bex is saying, Frank, thank you for being here. So awesome. Thomas, I'm just starting to watch these. They are very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. T-Bex is just saying hi. Oh, and look at us having Dust Productions. Hey, Dust. Thank you. Not often you see Dust up in my live, so I'm loving that. Thank you. Let's say nice shirt, loving it. Toxic, hi, Toxic. How are you? Let's see. Cass is here. Where's Cass? I don't see Cass. Oh, Toxic, that's your nephew, right? Yes. Destination Spooky channel is awesome. Just please go check that out. He's a travel channel and he goes all spooky places and stuff like that. It's really fun and I love it. All right. So my guest tonight, Rebekka Wachter. I hope I'm saying that right. She can correct me. Rebekka is the founder and publisher of Caliber and Quill and its paranormal-focused publication, Carnevale Press. Through Carnevale Press, she explores the paranormal from the perspective of a curious observer, which I love, examining the stories, evidence, history, and people behind the unexplained without beginning with a predetermined conclusion. For 26 years, she has also worked as a credentialed fine jewelry and luxury watch dealer, specializing in vintage and antique pieces, a career that ultimately gave rise to Caliber and Quill and later Carnevale Press. Carnevale Press's philosophy is simple: enter curious, question everything. I love it. And without further ado, let me bring this wonderful lady on.
Oh,
Hello.
ta-da!
There she is in the flesh, ladies and
Same
gentlemen.
here. Yeah.
So, how are you this evening, Rebekka? Before we get into the nitty gritties and the and us getting into your life, how are you this evening?
I'm good. Like I told you, I just came from work, flew down the stairs, and
Me
here
too.
I am.
Me
So
too.
yeah, yep, good stuff.
So, so there's a whole bunch of stuff. I read two of your articles. You just started writing articles. You're hoping to go towards like a little bit of journalism with your career as well. So you got a couple of things going on. Your articles, I'm going to tell right now. I linked them in the description, people. So just make sure you check these. They're easy, quick reads, and that's no disrespect to Rebekka, but for me, I have ADHD, and it's very hard for me to stay focused and to, um, be able to read something in its entirety. And both of her articles, I was able to read in one sitting and get through them and follow them, and they were really good, and there was some really good stuff in there. So hats off to you. Thank you so much for sharing your articles with me. And like I said, they are linked. Thank you. They are linked in the description below on the channel and on Facebook and and in the event banner as well.
Nice.
I
Thank you.
suggest go read them because they're really good. I love them.
I appreciate that.
So how did you get here? How did you get were you into the paranormal as a kid? Were you into like how did you wind up in watching all the debunking videos I watch?
So yeah, the answer is yes to all of it. So yes, I was into the paranormal as entertainment. I was not a big like fluffy movie kind of person. Like I'll take a horror movie, uh, like found footage for me. I don't even care if it's terrible. It's like I have to watch it. So I'll watch those. So yes, I was into it for the entertainment, but I also had parents that were believers, and my mom in particular, like my mom and my grandma, like my grandma on my dad's side was Ukrainian, and they had specific beliefs that could be viewed as paranormal, and so did my mom on her side. So it was kind of both. Okay, I had parents that were believers, and I also enjoyed it.
So
So
what are really quick so I don't forget, because I'm always interested in different cultures and everything like that as well, and what their belief systems are. So what do you can you elaborate a little bit about what you mean by Ukraine has the beliefs that could be viewed as paranormal? Like, what can you just elaborate on that?
yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is specific. There was obviously the Baba Yaga. That's something she would be like, if you don't behave, Baba Yaga is going to come and get you. So there was always that. But I do specifically remember, and like when we were younger, if somebody away in the home, we had a huge family, and sometimes the hospice was at home. We had to move. So otherwise, it would be like ghosts. But in as I got older, I realized what they were saying is memories. There would be a strong memory of that person, uh, and the thought like you would expect them to come around the corner, or to the point where you would almost see that, like you would expect them to be there. You'd smell the smells that would come with them, and you would expect them to be sitting in that specific chair. So it was a practice in their culture that if somebody passed away in the home, you would move.
Really?
I was really young, so I don't, and I tried to ask her about it, but I couldn't. My mom's, she's retired, so that lady is busy. But I don't remember fully the specifics, but I do remember that where she would say to me, she's like, I was like, why do we have to move? And she was like, well, the house is haunted. We have
Okay.
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they just automatically thought that if somebody passed in the house, that the house would be haunted and that
the
that
house is haunted.
right, so you have to move. Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
All right, so
No, that's all right.
so you grew up half, like half the family was believers and half the family wasn't, correct?
Right. Yeah. Well, no, my dad believed, he was just very quiet about it. Like you and I were talking about how he's a big outdoorsman.
Yeah.
He's a believer, but almost, it's hard to explain, but in the woods. Like you must have respect for the woods. The woods will, or they will claim you. You respect the animals of the woods. And so for him, it's more of a, if you don't show that respect, it will come back to get you.
That's almost like it's almost like what in like the Native American Indians kind of
Yeah.
would believe in. Like, you have to respect the land, you have to give back to the land, you have to, treat the land as almost like, for lack of better description, a god almost,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
He,
that's
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and I kind of heard myself, so I apologize. It's so funny because when you look at him, he is your classic cowboy. That is a
Oh,
cowboy. Yeah, he's a full-on real life cowboy, but he has such respect for the earth and the ground and the woods and the streams that, yeah, exactly that. If you give that respect will come back. If you don't, nothing good will come of it. So yeah, that was his very much deep-seated belief.
so did that carry on with you? Is that something that you believe in as well, or
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, he did have boys, so all three of us girls were raised like boys. We were taught to orienteer. We were taught his philosophies on hunting. All of those things. This is just what I am on the sales floor, but like out, I mean, usually immediately outside. I feel more connected outdoors than I do indoors. So when I'm out there, I'm just like him. I'm very thankful and very appreciative, and I show my respect to nature and the woods. And so then that way I can travel safely
yeah,
through them. Yeah.
for sure. Um, so you grew up kind of in, the paranormal entertainment for the entertainment purposes of it. And then at what point did you start getting a little bit more into it?
Um, I don't remember the exact flip, but I do remember it was tied very closely to my job. I think it was when I first started working with mourning jewelry. Like I said, my specialty is antique and vintage estate. I've also done historical pieces, some of historical significance. And when the mourning jewelry comes in, there's a different level of respect there because they're made of the person themselves or it contains pieces of the deceased. So it's different than you're like, and I'm not saying it's less important, but it's different than like, say you received your grandmother's pearls. Great. That's just as important. But mourning jewelry was literally made of human hair, bone, something of the deceased. And that's a little bit different because you're actually wearing pieces of them themselves.
So when you say people come in, like, are they coming in with these items and asking you to make the jewelry? Or
No, our general policy, when I had my own business and now is, we don't typically, we'll assess it, I'll appraise it, and we'll put it in the estate case. But in terms of working on it and stuff, no, because we can't. Obviously,
yeah.
because it's pieces of a person, we can't replace it if something were to go sideways. But yes, I do appraise it and assess it for value or at least authenticity, and then or age. A lot of Victorian mourning jewelry will come through. That's usually the start of it. Although mourning jewelry could be considered, in ancient times too, anything made of bone necklaces, things like that. But yeah, usually it's authentication, appraising it for value, and putting it in the estate case.
So have you Dust has a question. Have
Yeah.
you have you ever thought that an item was haunted?
Yeah. Yeah, I have actually. Um, there's been times, especially when I had, I mean, I do own a business, but especially when I had my business, where things came across my desk that weird things happened after. And I'm not one to like jump right away to, oh, it's haunted. But there is an incident that is ongoing. I've talked about it with Douglas a few times. Frank at Mitchell, that's in the chat right now, that's actually my creative partner. He's an author too, and we collaborate together. He would be at our old house, and that's where it started, and he would notice it too. And so there are times where things come through the house where my office was, and I was like, is there like a hitchhiker? You know what I mean? Like weird things would happen afterwards. So I definitely think, yeah, there's been a few of them.
Have you had any of this morning jewelry that's more recent with more recent times, or is it mostly all Victorian era or before?
So Victorian era will have more hair in it. You know, it's usually made up of hair or bone. There'll be, but it is usually hair. They'll take a lock of the hair and maybe put a picture and the hair in the locket, or it'll be their monogram stone with their hair. Uh, Teeth are another one that you run into often. Um, so that'll be more of the old stuff. Nowadays, people can go to companies like Life Gem and have themselves turned into stone. They're not really diamonds, but it's still it's a fun thought. But you can do that. And I've had people come in with their pets that their ashes have been turned into stones, or grandma or
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't think about that. Like, I got a lock of my mom's hair, but they put it in the urn.
Hmm.
So I can't
Yeah.
open the urn and get her hair out now. Now I'm regretting that. Like, now I'm like, I wish I would have, because, I could have done, I know this probably sounds probably morbid to some people, but I could have done something with her hair. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like what they used to do. I know that sounds totally weird to some people, but um, I have her ashes, but like I wish they were like, "What do you want us to do with her hair?" And I'm like, "Oh, do you want us to put it in the urn, or do you want?" And I'm like, "You can just put it in the urn." And now I'm realizing, well, I can't open the urn.
Right.
Get her
Yeah.
hair out.
Yeah, usually when if people, I think not cemeteries. That's after the fact. I think funeral homes for that more than jewelers do. I mean, we can do it, and by we I mean jewelers, but usually they'll take some of the ash and send it off to these type of companies, and they'll turn it into stone and set it for you because they realize we really can't. So, because no one wants to explain they broke whoever. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be
Yeah.
like, "Hi, sorry,"
Right.
uh,
Right.
you know. But they'll do that for them, and they are beautiful.
Yeah.
That's more modern. I have seen those quite a bit, but it's it's the difference between those are usually machine made. The ones that are from the Victorian era and following that, those are done by hand.
Right.
And there's a belief in our field, some people believe it, that there's a transference that occurs between us, the maker, to you.
Right.
And so when you take possession of it, it's a neat theory, also kind of paranormal. It connects myself to you to the piece. But anyway, it is kind of neat because those are done by hand. Somebody lovingly created that for someone else, made of someone else.
And those are worth money.
Yeah, yeah, a lot. Some people pay good money to collect those. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah. I think the most expensive one I've seen was 5 or 6 figures. Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. I think that
Wow.
person was royalty, but still, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so royalty I get, but like, you know, it's fascinating to me that mourning jewelry would be I mean, I guess there's collectors for everything. I mean, whether it's their families or not, you know what I mean? I guess there's collectors out there for everything, I guess. Um, Frank is saying, I can totally back her up on what she said. It's gotten real spooky at times.
It did. Yeah.
Is it only when you have the morning jewelry?
So what he's referring to is, no, it was after. So I had a piece that came in, and it was weird. It wasn't even morning jewelry. It was a Louis clock. It was from the state of, who was it? It was the King France. It was, I don't know, French King number 14. I'll have to look it up. It was such a long time ago. Um, we brought it in, had to authenticated it, and it had been in some serious places. It had been in Versailles, it had been in a couple serious collectors' houses, and off it went. And I thought nothing of it, you know. And then I started seeing things out of the corner of my eye a few days later, and at the time I'm like, you know, I better go get this checked out. I did not jump to the paranormal whatsoever. And so then I'm sitting at dinner with my husband, and he says to me out of nowhere, and he's not into the paranormal. That is not his thing. Very calm. He's like, so I'm seeing things out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, all right, that's weird. It's officially weird. And after that, uh, doors would be found open.
Oh, cool.
Um, when it's things misplaced, your kind of common stuff. And again, didn't jump to the paranormal. I'm pretty forgetful at times. And then one day, Frank popped by, and we were going to work on something together. And he said to me, he thought he saw me, but it was not me at all. I wasn't home yet.
Interesting.
So he's like, I thought I saw you in the window. And I was like, how? I can't teleport. So,
Right.
yeah, so things have gotten weird before, but that particular clock, I was happy to see go. Uh, is
So
it,
after
see,
when the clock went, did that kind of die down?
a little bit, but I have sent, I don't know. I told Douglas this when I moved here. This room I'm sitting in right now, actually, this room, the door is very heavy. This is a century old home. It's very thick, and you shut it and you really have to pull. And so then I came downstairs, and I have a little kitten, and she comes tearing out of here. And I'm like, well, how did you get in there? And so I go downstairs. Sure enough, the door's open. I shut it, don't think anything about it. And I was home that day. And then I come back downstairs again, change the laundry over, and the door is open again. This is a storage room. Like, there's no reason for anyone to be in here. I mean, only in here now because it was the only one with the open wall. And I was like, how did you? So I did everything you guys do, everything I've ever seen on TV, man. I jumped around and pushed on the door, like, elbowed the snot out of it. That door did not budge. So I still do not understand how it bothered me enough that I went to Dust and Douglas and Stevie, where I was like, I'm going to eliminate if I have a human problem. I'll put some cameras up just because nobody ever comes in here. But it does bug me. It really does, to no end. This particular.
Are you afraid, or are you just like,
No, if anything, I'm annoyed because I don't want the cats in here, all the stuff. But I was just like, pick a different door, you know. But no, I do honestly wonder sometimes because haunted objects is something I'm particularly interested in. Or I kind of covered it more in my first article for Caliber and Quill. Now that one's not a paranormal publication.
it was good?
However, oh, thank you. In On Time, that's the first article, I discuss why we carry the things we carry. So, like, maybe for you, your core is your wallet, your keys, and your phone, and then your favorite watch or your favorite pen or something you just cannot leave at home without. That's how I look at these pieces that come through my office. Somebody loved them, somebody wore them. And so we carry them because they're important to us and they remind us of who we are and how we get through our day. And then maybe those pieces were so important, we pass them on to the next generation and remind them of who we were. And so for me, I am super interested in objects and why someone would haunt it, maybe, and whether that haunting is considered really just like my mom, a memory, a really strong memory. Is that the haunting, or is it actually haunted?
Right.
So for me, I explore that, and it kind of it parlayed off of my article on time into what will be haunted objects.
Is that the quote that Mr. Harold said? And I tried to remember this for the show, so I didn't have to go back and reread it. But was that in the first article or the second article?
The second article about debunkers, your brain should always be open, but not so open that your brains fall out. You
Yeah,
know, you never want that. I love Jim Harold. I think he was my first paranormal podcast. Listen, yeah,
yeah. All right, so I'm jumping. Okay, I didn't mean to do that.
it's
So,
okay.
I have me and you were talking. I have a ton. I'm an antiquer. I love antiques. I love vintage antique stuff. And one thing is chairs for some reason. And unfortunately, chairs are big, so I can only have so many chairs in my house. Um, I actually have a couple up in the attic because I don't have anywhere to put them right now. But um, chairs for some reason, and medical because I am in the medical field. So the medical antiques fascinate me. How they used to, how they used to, what they used to. I have a bottle. You're gonna crack up, but I have a bottle. Hold on. I don't know if you can see this, but it says chloroform on it.
No way. That's so cool.
So, like, I collect a lot of stuff. Um, I have medicine bottles from 1877, that were handwritten out at the pharmacy, and this and that, and so I collect a lot of that, and someday somebody is going to hopefully get this stuff and take care of it the way I did, but the other half of my collection is vintage Playboy stuff, like real Playboy stuff. And the reason is my mother was a Playboy bunny at the Playboy Casino in Atlantic City. She did not pose in the magazines, but she worked at the Playboy Casino. So I have hundreds and hundreds of Playboy magazines from the 1950s on up. Um, and I have like real vintage, like I have a Playboy ashtray, Playboy necklace, and Playboy, that she got from working at the Playboy Casino. So one of the items I told you I have is um, I think I told you this, is a bayonet that was used often.
Yeah, awesome
Um,
memories.
somebody told me that with each war or any war that it was in, like these types of things would be stamped, and there are several stamps on the blade. Some of it looks, and I'm really bad with this, so I'm not being ignorant, but I think I'm dumb with when it comes to this, but I don't know if it's Chinese or Japanese or something like that, but it is some type of a form of an Asian type of a marking. And then there's a wooden handle, and on the wooden handle, it looks like somebody carved out a crown.
Oh, sure.
Um, and I still have to get it looked at.
Can I ask you something? Is the blade, does it have like wavy marks on it? It's called Mocha Megane, but you see it on Damascus a lot, that wavy pattern form.
It's
Is that
no,
on there?
the blade is
Okay.
just, it has a divot, but it's
Right.
just one divot across. You know what I mean? It's not, and it's I haven't touched it. I have not cleaned it. I haven't done anything, but it's been used quite often. You can tell. There's stains on it. There's, all kinds of stuff. Um and my other thing is a certificate mustering a lieutenant into the Civil War in 1863. I have that in a frame in museum glass. Um, those are my two craziest things I have, I think, because the rest of it's just kind of like, nicky knack, whatever. But I would think that a bayonet that's been used multiple times in a war would resonate something.
Like that's like thinking of Gettysburg, right? I how can you not assume that's haunted? Whatever your not you specifically, but whatever your definition of a haunting is.
Right.
there's a lot of there's a lot of emotion there. There's a lot of bloodshed there. Um, I guess I would, for me, if someone was to haunt something, I would wonder if they would return to where, I hate to liken it like this, but my husband was right. It's kind of like, when you play in a video game and you have your little spot, you
Yeah.
respawn there. Why would you not return to yourself? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, have an attachment to something of yourself.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like I think, and I'll be honest with you, my belief is that I don't think that items can be possessed by anything, by a demon or anything like that. Like I don't think that, 100 years from now, this thing is gonna, have a demon inside of it and it's going to be able to jump out and attack a person or make somebody kill somebody or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I don't, my personal belief is that I don't believe that. Now, if this is the thing that I carry around, like you were talking about earlier, this is my thing. I carry it around. It goes with me everywhere. I love it so much. I don't want to part with it. I believe that my energy or my, I don't know what word you use, my energy, my aura, whatever it is, can probably become attached to that item.
Yeah.
I believe that. I think that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's that thought, right? That energy cannot be destroyed, right? And we are made of energy. So where does it go?
Right.
So, uh, for me, I'm just going to use this as an example. There's this saying I really, really like. They only use it with timepieces, mechanical and automatics, non-battery watches. You don't actually own it. You're only the keeper of it at that moment until you turn it on or turn it over, right, to the next keeper of that piece. So, for example, my watch I will give to my first nephew, and then he will be its keeper. And as that goes, your energy, each keeper's energy, will attach to that piece. You're continuing the story. Um, my mentor was a big believer in not removing every scratch from a piece that we took in for resale because it was part of the story. He was like, you should never take out every scratch because that was left over from the previous keeper.
Right.
That's where I got the keeper from.
Ah,
Um, and so he believed in leaving that part of that person
I I
on the
I
piece.
I think that that's an awesome way to look at it, an awesome philosophy, and I would agree with it. I also think it makes the piece, like I said, like my bayonet. I haven't touched it. I'm not going to clean that thing up. I'm not cleaning.
Ooh,
I'm not touching it. All my antiques I have, they are what they are. I'm not trying to clean them up. I'm not trying. The only thing that I have that I successfully got a sunspot out of, I don't know how, is I have a Victrola from the 1800s, the late 1800s. And I got a sunspot out of the top of it. It was given to me, and you know, um, that's it. That's the only thing that I've ever really worked on. To try to restore it to, you know what I mean, because it had this stain on the top of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what I was doing, but I got it out. Now, a little bit of Murphy's oil soap, a little bit of Pledge, a little bit of warm soap. I mean, and it's wood, so you got to be.
elbow grease.
Yeah, I mean, and it came out. I was so shocked. Hi, Joan, Ladies Fright. Um,
Joan.
please go check her channel out as well. She's got an awesome little channel over there, Ladies Fright. She says the Japanese have a belief that if an item is over 100 years old, it develops a soul.
It's true. And really good point. There's different beliefs per each culture, right? So you could have the same item and have two different cultures that attribute beliefs to it. So, for example, and I'm just because I'm familiar with it, pearls, right? Some cultures believe that you should not wear them during your wedding because uh, they are believed to be like Aphrodite's tears. And then another culture believes that you should because they offer protection and purity and fertility. So, it just kind
Woo!
of depends. Yeah, right.
Good thing I
So it
didn't wear
just,
pearls on my wedding day.
So I, and it's the same kind of like when you go down the aisle, right? You have your something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Well, that something borrowed usually is an antique item, or, something handed down to you, or not borrowed, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Something old handed on down to you. It continues the story. So, you know, I like what you said about not cleaning it or not making it perfect again. It should never be, if that's not the idea. The idea is to continue the story. But the thing is like, do we continue with the story? You know? Um, I don't, you were saying about I don't, I'm with you. I don't think I'm still waiting for a genie to pop out of an oil lamp I have over. I mean, that would be amazing, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
right. Yeah,
Um, I know I'm not a big fan of the idea of demons being attached to stuff either. But I don't have an opinion on whether, well, I do have an opinion on whether we attach ourselves to a piece. But again, is it a memory? It's such a strong memory that may smell that person again, especially if it's leather, or you might re- remember that person holding it, their fingerprints maybe on it. Um, I don't know. Or is it actually haunted? So
right.
it's such a, like your bayonet is a good example of that. It
Yeah,
actually has blood stains on it. That's a piece of us. Mourning jewelry made of hair. That is a piece of us. And so if someone is going to haunt it, like physically haunt it, I would I could imagine returning to something made of yourself.
yeah,
Um, we
yeah.
believe in haunted houses, and haunted houses at the end of the day are an
An
object.
object, right?
So,
Exactly. I say that all the time. I'm like, if we can believe that a house is haunted,
mhm.
and when I say haunted, I mean it doesn't necessarily mean that it's Patrick Swayze walking around. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not
Yep.
yeah, it could be just the energy of the people that live there or, like, that were that's left behind or, you know, you know, what I mean, we don't know, and I don't think we are ever meant to know. Everybody's like
Mhm.
so, we want to get evidence. We want to get evidence. I get stuff. I got EVPs, and I hear disembodied voices. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. I'm not going to say it's a ghost because I don't know what it is.
Right.
Not at all. Um,
You know
but
what's another thought to that too? Just off the top of my head, I don't
yeah,
remember I've thought it before, but it was either Joan or Florio who put it really well into perspective. There's also the idea of intent, like where if you loved that piece so much, um, there was intent behind why you picked it and why you loved it. Of all the things, why you picked that one, that was the one you wanted to carry, to wear, to own. And so I think intent has a lot to play with it too.
I have to show you this. Look at this is my wedding ring. Hold
It's
on.
beautiful. Oh, I
Okay.
love that. Is it? It's. I can't see the color. Is it blue?
It's black. It's a black
It is
diamond.
black. Okay, I must be seeing your screen. I love
I'm
that you
gonna
did
have
something
to I'm
different.
gonna have to I'm gonna have to like send you pictures because what I did was I wanted it to look Victorian.
It's beautiful.
So actually this is a piece. I'll have to send. I know it's hard to say because of this damn light, but you see this comes up here and then this, so it's three pieces.
Mhm.
But the ring actually fits into that and it looks like a Victorian
Gorgeous.
it looks like a Victorian like a ring and that's what I wanted. And I'm hoping somebody takes care of this,
Oh yeah.
after I'm gone or buries me with it. Something. Actually, I don't want to be buried. Um, I take that back. Um, really quick, Ladies Fright says, "Yeah, I was told not to wear pearls, but I am a Cancer and I cry anyway, so I took the risk."
Her wedding picture is beautiful. That dress was everything. So
I
yeah, I don't blame her.
That was her birthstone. And then um, Just said, "It's your birthstone and you'll cry if you want to."
You go, Dust. That's funny.
um, so so I think it's very interesting. So is that dealing with like the morning jewelry and stuff like, is that how you started to get involved in or interested into the haunted items, or is it more what's because it's become more mainstream lately because of all the stuff that's in the on the internet now and social media now
So I believe my
surrounding?
100% believe my mother. She was still a jeweler when I entered. She was leaving as I was coming in, and I loved working with her. I really did. We put on the best competition like you have never seen. And so she would come in and I would have a tray of estate. She'd be like, "Oh, what you got there?" And I was like, "No, I got this, and that other thing." And she'd be like, "Well, make sure you wash your hands," because that was a good idea anyway, because you never knew what they were preserved in. And she goes, "B, say some prayers or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, why?" And she's like, "Well, it could be haunted. You don't know." And so because I knew she was a believer, it was so casual. She's like, "Yeah, they could be haunted." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "It's very." And so yeah, she's like, "Make sure you give those pieces some respect. Somebody loved them. They're made of somebody." She was dead serious. So I got a lot of it from her, and I knew she was a believer. And so that's when I started taking it, I took her very seriously. And so I started taking it seriously then as far as that was concerned. But I 100% loved all the shows. I grew up with Jason Haas. I'm not even gonna lie. I love well, no, not what was it? Destination, not Destination Fear. Josh Gates is first.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Destination unknown. Or
no,
yeah,
Destination Truth. We were gonna get there.
Destination Truth.
Yeah.
He's got so
Um,
many destinations now that I get confused.
well, if it helps, I started with Vic. So I was like, Destination Spooky. No, Destination. No, Destination. Yeah, like we were gonna get there. Yeah, no, I loved Josh Gates. I watched all of it. I didn't care if it was fake or not. It was highly entertaining. So,
Yeah,
but I did. I was a Jason Haas. I grew up on Jason Haas and Taps, and I
and then
watched Haunted Collector. Hmm.
Haunted Collector was actually a really good show. I watched Ghost
Hmm.
Hunt and I watched Haunted Collector, and for me, um, I believe that the stories that were told on that show, were real, like were true, and they were true for the people that lived in these houses with these items. And when he took the items out, this stuff stopped. I mean, it's got to say something. I just talked about this. Unfortunately, if somebody's watching my show that watched last week, I was just talking about this, but I did an experiment with Kenny Biddle, and Dave Schumacher and Tim Vickers. Tim Vickers and Dave Schumacher were like heading it, but they picked four people. I was one of four. I didn't know who the other three people were. I still don't know who the other three people are to this day. Um, and uh, each month there were four items, and each month they mailed it. And allegedly, one out of the four items was claimed to be haunted. Right.
Mm.
And I'll make this a long story short. So and in the box wasn't just the item, it was a notepad with a pen, so you had every day write down if you felt any changes in the atmosphere, if you felt anything, if anything was different than your normal everyday routine. uh and sorry. And if it wasn't different, you just would say, hey, no changes, everything was great. Every day you would write it down, so it was almost like a diary. Mail it back, and then you would get your next item, you know and it circled through. There was one item that I had out, that I got, and all this, and I was trying because I'm a superstitious person too. So I try not to like. I tried, and I think I did very well. I set it in a room where I forgot about it, so that I wasn't like, if something happened, I wasn't contributing it to this an item. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I set it in an area where I was just like, I'm going to put it out and I'm going to forget about it. Um, and it worked. Even though I was writing every day in this journal thing, I still didn't contribute anything to anything until one of the, I think it was either the second or the third item I got. Uh, Stuff just started happening, like weird stuff, like my outside back door that never locks. I can't lock it. It locked us out one night, And I went around and it was locked. Like I had to flip the lock, and I took a video of it to show them. Like it's a newer door, but the lock is up or down. You push the lock up or down and it'll lock the door. Well, the lock was up.
Yeah.
I cannot lock it. I pull the door shut, I pull the lock up, the door still opens. It won't lock. So that was one weird thing that happened. And it to this day, it never happened before and it hasn't happened after. And we've been here 6 years. Then stuff started happening with one of my cats and then another cat. And I was like, then all of a sudden I was like, okay. I'm like, and then something happened. My husband's car got broken into. You know what I mean? Like, and we live in a town where like stuff like that doesn't happen, that often. It's not like, an everyday thing. So then I started to be like, all right, if one more thing happens, I'm putting this thing away, sticking it in the closet, and I'm like calling it a day because I'm like, why is all this stuff happening? Something else happened, and I literally put it in a box, I put it away, and that was that. So after the whole thing was done and done, Kenny does a show and has all the people on. I was the first because I had to do my show that night, so he had me on first. And we talked about what the things I said. I said I really wasn't feeling anything except for that stinking rocking horse. And I went through everything that I just told you. I said things started happening, and I was like, now keep in mind I am superstitious. So was it superstition? I don't know. Well, anyways, they wind up saying that was the item that was supposedly haunted,
Wow.
and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Now, of course, Kenny doesn't think it's haunted, but that was what his claim. He said the other things he bought at like was something at a TJ Maxx, and he bought something at an antique shop, and blah blah. But that was the one item that was allegedly haunted. Now, the hauntings that came with that weren't the same as what I was going through. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like
Yeah.
similar things occurred, but that was the one item that was supposedly. Now, I'm not a psychic medium. I can't pick up on things like that. So it's not like I was picking up on anything. Is it a coincidence? I have no idea. But I found that very interesting.
I wonder if have you ever heard of the book The Power of Myth? Or there is always that power of belief too. Rocking horses are historically used as trigger objects, right? You see them in a lot of in places where there's kids or kid ghosts or whatever. Um, I have to say, if I had been given a rocking horse, I probably would have eyeballed it myself and been like, "That's weird."
I
and
eyeballed
it's
I eyeballed the clown and I put the clown away in my closet. I didn't care. I was like, I'm not dealing with this one because I don't like clowns.
yeah, I don't mind clowns, but if someone bought a rocking horse, it's like it's just you just expect it to just start. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like
sure.
I would just
Like I said, I left it in a room where I forgot it. Like I put it back there, I forgot about it. If I'd have seen that thing moving, it would have went right back to Tim really quick.
Mhm.
I would
I
have
would
been
have done
like,
the same thing.
yeah, I'd be like, no, we're not finishing this experiment. That thing moved. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
That was me and that French Louis clock. I was like, put that in the box and get it out of here. Because I swear it would start running on its own. I was told it wasn't operable. And I was like, that has to go, man. What do you mean it's not operable? And it's tick, 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 out. Like it's real out.
wow.
Get that gone.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, that kind of made me start to change my mind a little bit about maybe there is something more behind energy or things being attached to items, not demons and not apparitions or ghosts or spirits or what we like to, or our idea of that, but energy maybe, like maybe something was attached to that rocking horse. You know what I mean? That was not happy. It was in my house. It wanted to be wherever it wanted to be, but not my house.
mhm. No, I agree. I'm into something there. I mean, there's a lot that could be said about haunted objects. I think it's a fascinating topic just because look at all the things you and I just covered. Is it a memory? Is it energy? Is it an actual intelligent haunt? Like somebody actually is haunting it? Is it us and our intent and our belief? I still think that's more like anything can be haunted, but I still think more like your bayonet or the morning jeweler. Where if there was ever going to be something that to me that is going to be haunted, it would be that, just because it's made of people.
Right.
Um,
I
or
think
well,
if
the
things,
bayonet's not, but you know what I mean. It has
yeah.
people on it.
And I think I also think that if things are not where they're supposed to be, I think they have more of a more of a chance of things occurring around the item if it's not where it's supposed to be. So like I have my mom's ashes. Like that's where she's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's anything surrounding my mom's ashes because she's probably happy she's where she's supposed to be, right? The bayonet, who knows? I don't know. I have to get it. I have to get it looked at by somebody, but um I know that bayonet's not where it's supposed to be. And I know that that Civil War certificate's not where it's supposed to be. Um, you know, but most of the stuff I have, I mean, it's passed down. It's and that's another thing that fascinates you is about the medicinal stuff, the medicine stuff, the medical. Uh, these things were used. Like I have a really old. I don't know how old it is, but there's no screws in it. It's like these like nail popped in nails, but it's a crutch with like something sewn on top. You know what I mean for underneath. Um, and people use these things when they were going through something as well. These medical things. You know what I mean? You take a surgical set from the 1860s, or like you know what I mean. Like they use this to saw people's freaking legs off and arms off and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how wasn't there anything? How wouldn't there be anything attached to that?
Yeah, especially in times of trauma,
Yeah.
or definitely trauma. I hear that a lot, that that would leave an imprint. But so do happy memories too, like a silver wedding set. When they used to give the silverware, things like that. That's another one that gets passed on a lot.
Um,
Times of
yeah,
intense joy would be
yeah,
something else that would leave an imprint too.
absolutely. That's what Dust is saying here. Dust says that maybe it's not exactly haunted, but it holds energy, and then it can manifest something when you interact with it, maybe subconsciously. And I mean, I could agree with that.
We want to manifest it ourselves. We will it in ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Well,
there,
yeah, and that's what I was saying too. Like, even I know this is going to sound off topic, but it is going to reel it back in. Like, I talked about deja vu and premonitions. Like, are we really, is it a dream that we had at one point and we forgot that we dreamt about this? Therefore, it feels like deja vu. But if you dreamt, let's just say right now I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my gosh, Rebekka, I'm having deja vu. We've had this conversation before. I've had this happened to us. Like we were on my show, we were talking about this. You know, is that an impression? Was that like a dream state that I had that I dreamt this? Like, and then therefore it'd be a premonition? And then premonition would be labeled as psychic if it comes from a dream? Like, where does it come? I mean, like, I'm going down a deep rabbit hole. I know. I know.
no. I like this because you and I are on the same train. I don't necessarily believe in psychic abilities, like where you can see far into the future. When like a big thing you could apply to haunted objects would be like psychometry, where you touch it and you're like downloaded with a bunch of information. I don't know if I necessarily believe that,
Right.
but there is something to be said about premonitions, or I mean, the term reading a room exists for a reason, right? You can walk in and feel if there's tension, or you can walk in and tell if it's a happy event, and people, without hearing a word about it, people can sense that. Animals can tell when there's a predator around.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not talking, so that sense comes from somewhere. And so if you have that ability, I believe moms, I'm not one,
Good
but
choice.
I've seen enough to know that they can tell when their babies are in trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I do think there's something to be said for what you're saying there. There is a reason why those things exist. I don't know if that's necessarily a psychic thing or maybe just a built-in sense that we
Yeah.
even don't think about, but I
Yeah.
think you're right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough. And and the more I do this, and the more I talk, the more people I talk to, the more I learn, the more I get, I hear about different things. It's like the more questions I have. I don't get answers. I have more questions.
Well, you know what object I was thinking about gets us a lot, and I can't speak on it too much. I got to tell you, I don't know a dang thing about this, but they run in our same circles is coins. I'm not a numismatist. I never claimed. I really don't understand. I'm like, coins have a value to me. So when people are like, well, that one's worth blah blah blah, I'm like, so what is it? Blah 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 plus one. I don't understand it. But they still run around. They run around our circles, and people have talked about coins being haunted. I mean, coins have had a long history with people. You know, what's that? In some cultures, they put them over the eyes of the
Yeah.
deceased to make sure they could get across the river Styx. You know, I might be mixing
Sometimes,
cultures there. I don't know, but
sometimes the mafia would put coins over eyes.
yeah.
Of the victim.
So, coins are another one that, people carry them in their pocket. They have their lucky coin, they rub them. I have heard a few stories in terms of like coins, usually the larger ones, silver dollars, half dollars, that kind of thing.
I have all those
Um,
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. People wear coin necklaces. Those
Yeah,
are another one that,
I actually have. I'm probably gonna mess this up. Where the heck is it? Hold on. You hear me with all my stuff? It's crazy. Well, I have a coin. I have a coin that now I can't find it. I'm gonna have to try to find it. Why isn't it in here? Freaking out. So it's in a thing because it's like from uh another country. And where the heck is it? Oh my gosh. Sorry, I didn't mean to walk away. But um I'll have to find it and send it to you, but it's in a plastic cover. It's like in something, and it's like I can't remember what. I don't know if it was German or, but it's like from like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And when I tried to look it up, I don't know what I'm looking up. It's so hard to look up this kind of stuff because you get all kinds of different things. Like I I have like bifocals from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like just that from like the 1800s. Like I have all kinds of stuff, and I really honestly, huh?
we'll get the opera glasses, like the old 1800s from
Yeah,
1600. I think the oldest ones I saw like 16 or 1700s. Yeah, to the 1800s, those old opera glasses on the sticks, uh, made of
that's so
gold.
cool.
They're fun.
Um, Doug is saying there's the world's very lucky coin from a deleted scene in the Ghostbusters. Egon says, I shouldn't take this. We may not come back. And Janine tells him, keep it. I got another. Hmm, interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I wish I could find that. What it's in here somewhere. It's just I have like a lot of stuff in my little antique cabinet over here, and I'm like running out of room. Um, but huh? I'll have to show you. I'll have to like show you what's in here because you would be you probably would like half of the stuff that was in there, judging by what you're saying about the antiques and stuff. And I love talking about this. I go antiquing. I love estate sales. Estate
Mhm.
sales they're cool, but they're morbid to me because you're
Yeah.
literally the person either passed and that's why they're doing an estate sale, or they went into a nursing home and that's why they're doing it an estate sale, right? Most of the time, that's what that is. Uh,
We used to do traveling. Before they had the estate sales, they would call someone like myself in, and it's so hard when you sit with the family and you go through each item. and then tag it, or you'll price it out, tag it, move it. And think about this kind of stuff then too, because people are so attached. And people want to sell for whatever the reason it is they want to sell, whether it's good times or bad. Sometimes they'll say, I can't do it. And you'll see like debates amongst family. Well, why not just sell it? Well, it's no longer about the piece. It's about the person that owned it. They
Right.
don't care that it's a diamond ring anymore. They care that it was mom's diamonds. It's no longer
Exactly.
about, and so that emotional attachment that people, I understand people, some people think of jewelry or books or whatever as just things. Like, why do we need these things? Well, because they belong to somebody else or they meant something to us. And so it's no longer an object at that point. We assigned it value, not
Right.
monetary value, personal value.
Exactly. Yeah, and most of the things I have are most of the things I have are passed down, but it's just like walking through a house from 200 years ago, whether it's my house or not. Like when I walk through a house that's from 200 years ago, and you're thinking, I'm literally taking the same steps that a family used to just like. I can't, like, my house right now. I can't imagine 200 years from now somebody walking through and being like, "Wow, wow, like somebody was here 200 years ago." You know what I mean? Because houses now, my house was built in 1950. Like you know, it's not like they were like how they were made back in the 1800s, and they're like these beautiful houses, and people walk through them, and you're just like, you're taking the same footsteps as these people did 200 years ago in the same house. And it's
That's
like
different. Yeah.
what your house is, how old?
So this house was built in 1953, I think, or something like that. It was the year prior. It was started being built. That's this one. That's how old this house.
1853.
Yeah, like right before the state. This house is older than the state. Yeah, it's weird.
Wow.
It's been knocked down twice, but the original foundation where I'm at right now, this is it.
So you're in the creepy room that you don't like.
Yeah. I'm in the room with the darn door. I said that to Doug. I was like, he's like, what? So I was telling him about it. I was like, I don't know what to do because Dust and Doug had different opinions. One said to talk to it, the other one said, do not do that. And so I'm like, I just wanted to pick a different door, man. I just don't want the cats in there.
Well, now
So
I'm all in favor of talking to, like, especially if you wanted to do something that different than what it's doing. You know what I mean? Like, I tell, like, when I do private cases and stuff like that, and there's people that struggle with talking to something that's not there. You know what I mean? I get it. It's scary, but um, you know, I always tell people, like, look, just say, look, I know you're here, but I don't want to know you're here. So I'll share my space, but this is my house, and these are my rules, and this is what I want. I want you to not bother me at night so I can sleep. I want you to, do this, that. I mean, there's a respectful way to say things out loud to get the stuff to. So I'm in favor of who I don't know which one told you to do what, but I am in favor of putting your foot down almost in a respectful way. But this, you have to remember that's your house now. Even if it, they may have lived there at one point, or they may be attached to something in the house or the land or whatever, but this is your house now, and these are your boundaries, and you're setting your boundaries. And 9 times out of 10 they listen, and stuff stops. you know
what I love about this is, so when you were reading the bio of my like publication, I've actually never investigated, never used an Ouija board. I've never used tarot cards, not because I have anything against them. I've just never done it. I like looking at tarot cards. I think they're beautiful. But I've never had like the opportunity. So funny story. So I'm in Minnesota, and what's really big here, or was really big here, is Darkness Radio. It's
okay.
Dave
Yeah.
Schrader, and I listen to him religiously. He's such a great orator, and he's such a great interviewer. And he's since left and went on to do the Paranormal 60. Uh, but I used to like watch him investigate and try to, because he would host these investigations around the state. And I was like, I got to get to one of these because I've never done this. I still to this day never done it. I need to.
Yes, we need to. And it's with all your knowledge, I mean, on the field and doing an investigation like that, I mean, your knowledge of antiques and vintage stuff and this and that could really be useful, during an investigation.
Things than just jewelry. I've done art, like paintings and historical clothing for sure. You learn that as you learn jewelry. You can't just learn what. Well, I guess you can, but here you learn both historical clothing and historical accessories, and so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I always I liked watching people go on investigations all the time. It just seems like and I know everybody says no, there's a lot of nothing. You know what I mean? But I'm
It's
like, yeah,
fun.
but it's still fun.
It is fun. It's who you investigate with. Like I have my peaches, and no matter what, we have a blast. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
whether we have paranormal stuff happen or we don't have paranormal stuff happen, or we have weird stuff happen or not. We still have so much fun together. You know what I mean? So it is fun.
Yeah.
I think if we did a show, people would watch us because there's never a dull moment with us. There's six of us, and we're six, cackling women that just like kind of like we just, you know, there's always something funny happening. But, you know, but if I understand what people are saying. They're saying like because you just sit there and you're just talking. It's not what the shows show you. It's not like every time you turn around, there's something happening and there's oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You know what I mean? Like that's not what's happening. A lot of times
Yeah.
you wind up just talking and you start talking about like I'm hungry. What kind of food do you want to eat? And this night you start just talking to each other. And we found that that's when things happen when we're talking to each other, and it's almost like they're like, "Hey, you're not paying attention to me," and then they do something, and then you miss it because you're too busy talking.
Well, Dustin and I had a weird moment this evening. I don't know if he's still here because I can't see the chat, but if he is, there was this, we were talking in VC and he's like, I can't hear you. I'm like, what? I didn't know if he was talking to me or not. And he's like, you sound like you're really far away. I'm like, Dust, I'm not talking. There's no talking.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And I mean, sure, there could be interference or whatever, but I don't recall that happening. Now, what's interesting about that, and I don't recall that happening any other time that he and I has talked. Maybe it has, but he legitimately thought I was talking and I wasn't saying anything. But Doug and I voice message each other on Facebook Messenger all the time, and he has said he has heard things through my messages, which is
There's
interesting.
been a couple of times my shows that people have heard things. I had Sherry D. Benedetti and Rochelle Stratton on one time, and something happened when I had them on. Um, and a lot of times there's been things happening, like if I'm interviewing a location owner and they're at the location, you hear stuff. So things have happened um, during my show, even. You know what I mean? Look at this thing. I didn't even realize this was like,
I didn't even think of, I didn't have pay attention to it. You're like, there's things crawling in the screen now.
yeah, yeah. So now with all your experience, you want to start, and I admire your knowledge and never investigating. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're saying that you've been watching and observing and researching, and that your knowledge shows that. You know what I mean? But now you want to start focusing on haunted objects. Is that what I'm understanding?
So, after a point in my career where I'd kind of done all the things, I didn't want to go to corporate. So I'd gotten as far up as I go. I found the ceiling. And some years back, I started writing, but it was like, your classic beat, your fashion shows and, all of that. Um, I started writing, I started paying attention. It really was Dust Discord. I've always talked to people about the paranormal. I talk to people for a living. So when I would be in people's houses or we'd be talking about their estates, ghost stories would kind of come with it. And what's fun about what I do is lore and history and mystery is embraced, right? Like we
Right.
sell love and romance for a living, and we tell stories and attribute mystical things to these gemstones for a living. And so for me, uh, when I would be in people's houses to do their estate or whatever, they would tell me the stories behind the pieces, which was wonderful. But you would also sometimes get a ghost story. And so I think it was in Frank would remember because he was around when I started looking into it. It was probably in early my late 20s or my early 30s, one of the two. Um, and I started really focusing on it because weird things were happening. You know what I mean? Like people would have these stories, and at that point, I had my own office, and things would come through. One piece in particular, I don't know if I can mention it here. I did tell you what it was. That was a big deal. Well, I'm just gonna say it. The NDA is over. I just can't tell you where it went. Is one piece that went through my office was Harry Houdini's pocket watch. And that was probably the highlight of my career. Just to hold it, you're like holding a piece of history.
Right.
Um, I was not the one who sold it, but it was part of the team, and it was crazy. Like
Yeah, I can't imagine. Harry Houdini's pocket watch, like that's just I mean, how
yeah,
cool
it
is
was
that?
yeah. I mean, the company I worked for, the fact that they even got it and that sales associate was able to move it along. I don't know that I actually. I would be honest with you. I don't know that I necessarily wanted to be the person who sold it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like the actual the end line. But for that company to get it and to have it go through, you know, that, you know what I mean? It was a piece of history. It was a big deal, and I think that was. I think that for if there was anything that was going to be collecting things along the way,
Yeah.
that would be
Well,
one of
and
them. I
he
can't
and
even.
Harry Houdini, um, I think he was he a non-believer or I think he was a non-believer in the paranormal and he
I think he wanted to believe. He
yes,
really did. I think he wanted to. Isn't there a quote from him that where he wanted to be shown the paranormal? I can't remember. I don't remember, but there is
yeah,
a quote from him. I think he wanted to believe but didn't. He was
right,
like a skeptic, but was totally open to be changed.
right. Yeah, I think he would like I'm probably gonna mess this up and please don't anybody take this for what it is. Yeah, I know Kenny is a Harry Houdini fanatic, I know. I feel like Harry Houdini perform like would be a part of seances or wanted seances to try to prove and like or disprove and I feel like it never happened so he felt like it just didn't he didn't believe in any of it.
The amount of research that had to be done when that pocket watch came through,
Oh my gosh.
oh, it was insane. She had I'll get. I'll tell you this: for someone, if you want a Stevie equivalent in the jewelry world, it was this lady, and she had like a packet of presentation, the whole shebang, and just reading through it, the history behind it was impressive. And so, but I think it was his wife that I want to say his wife went to a seance or a medium because they had promised each other that they would contact each other. I think, and then
It was the same thing with Abe Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln.
yeah.
They did the same thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope I'm not mixing up the two, but I thought it was him, and then she said, "No, he's gone." It's something like that. It was a good story. It
yeah.
was included in the packet. I think that is what I remember. But yeah, it was. I can't believe in my life that I even was.
No, that's really cool.
You know,
That is really cool. Like I get excited when I hold, a Civil War certificate. I can't imagine, Harry somebody And I'm not saying that the guy, I'm not saying anything, but it's different than somebody that was that. This is going to sound mean either way. I don't know how to say it, but the guy's certificate that I have, he was a prisoner of war, which
Mhm.
makes the certificate worth a little bit more money. But he wasn't like somebody like General Meade or General Lee or anybody like that. Whereas if I had his certificate muster against the Civil War, so I could bring in a pocket watch, you know, and you'd be like, oh, okay, this is cool. But then somebody comes in with Harry Houdini's fucking pocket watch, and you're like, whoa,
Abe Lincoln's was another one. The same guy, I think. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure because he was friends with the owner. The same guy who authenticated Abe Lincoln's, which so he opened it to make sure that inscription was there, was the same guy who authenticated Harry Houdini's. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm more than 50% sure. That guy was so cool, and he does a lot of the Civil War ones. So I can only
yes,
imagine someone's attached to that somewhere.
yeah. So somebody walked in with Harry Houdini's pockets. Just somebody walked in with Harry Houdini's and said, I want to sell this.
No, no, was at a auction house. So there was a gentleman who is like a prolific, and again, I can't disclose who he
That's
is,
fine.
but he's a prolific pocket watch collector. And he ended up with one of our top sales ladies. And so that was at a auction house. And I think I can only tell so much of this.
That's fine. That's
And
fine.
yeah, and so we tracked it down. They tracked it down, and then we brought it in. It was already authenticated, done. That was all done in New York. I think that's where that is.
Well, then you
And so
guys
that
found it. You guys found the buyer.
the yeah, well, we found it for. I think she found it for the buyer, and then or it was already done. He asked for it. Either he found it and asked to see if we could do it. I almost wondered sometimes if he asked as a joke, like, you know what, if you find me Harry Houdini's pocket watch, I'll just buy it, like as a joke. And then it
See
happened, and we're
what
like, okay,
happened?
pay up. So you know
That's
what I mean? I almost wondered if it was like a joke gone sideways, but it did have. It was impressive. It was one of those moments where we were like, "You found it," like, but yeah, and so I think either he found it and requested it, or she found it and moved it on to him. But yeah, it was not a small thing to do for sure. I that should have probably. I mean, we probably thought at the time it was in a museum, but it was at an auction house. That part, that's easily look upable. But yeah, it was at an auction house, and now it's well, last I checked, it was in private hands. I mean, for all I know, it could have moved again. These things move around a lot, but
yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of antiques do like that do tend to move quite a bit. So it's hard to track stories. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like if
yeah,
something did have a haunted story that tagged along with it, a good a good book for something like that, Pocket Watch wise, it's called The Grand Complication. It was a total battle between two giants. But that they tracking stuff like that, just if it has a story behind, it's hard because all those pieces move a lot.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that happening. I mean, especially the older it is, it's got to
Hmm.
be. That's got to be harder. It's got to be the harder to track stories and harder to authenticate than of something that was just owned or passed down in family to family to family to family. You know what I mean? Like if something's been sold and this and that. One of the craziest thing I think I've ever seen was they have now last time it was at the Gar Museum in Philadelphia. Um, they had General Meade's horse's head. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
That's
the horse.
something.
It was either the whole horse or just the head. I can't remember. I remember looking at him. I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually looking at a horse that was alive in 1863. And here it is. Like, just like what fascinates me are the people that decide to keep these things. Like, what? Like, what goes through their heads when they're like, you know what? this is going to be worth something someday. I'm going to keep this because someday
Yep.
this is going to be on display 200 years from now because it's going to be worth something.
I feel that way about certain trinkets where, you walk in and you try to picture someone just walking and going, yep, that's it right there. I'm going to take that with me. And you're like, that? Okay.
And
It,
yeah, and I think that's why most of the times that's why like a lot of the things I have, I'm like, this might be worth something one day. This might be worth something one day. This might be worth something one day. You never know. You know?
when it could be as simple as, so like this, for example, uh, this is my grandmother. She wore it all the time. She said she wore it the day she came from Ukraine to America and decide she's so funny. She's like, I just decided I was gonna stay. And that's what she did, became a citizen. And so, but she wore it all the time. And then when she passed, it was given to me and I wear it all the time. I call it my security blanket. But
There
it's
you
like,
go.
yeah, but it's like having her with me. So it doesn't have to be a piece of jewelry. It doesn't even necessarily have to be old. It just has to be loved.
Yeah,
And I think that that could be the haunting itself too. I loved my grandmother. She was my whole world. And so to have this, she loved it, and now I love it. I think you and I are kind of collecting a bunch of theories. It's love, it's intent, it's belief, it's pieces of us. It's you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
all of those could be attractors for an actual haunting, or they could be the haunting itself.
right.
It's
Yeah,
all worth exploring for sure.
absolutely. And like I said, I don't think that items. Again, I'll reiterate. I don't think items could be possessed by a demonic entity. I don't think they can be possessed by a demonic entity. I don't think that it can be possessed by that. And then it jumps out of me and jumps into you, or jumps out of the object into you, and this and that. Like I just don't think that. But I do believe that they hold some sort of memory, which, however you interpret that memory, is how it comes to you. You know what I mean? So your scarf that holds memory, that holds your grandmom's energy, and when I say energy, that could be anything. That could be memory, that could be love, that could be whatever, and like I have my dad's um police jacket, and I have one
Oh,
of his uniforms. I turned his uniform into a teddy bear and a pillow, or else it's just hanging in the closet collecting dust. You know what I mean? And um, so I turned it into a pillow, but his jacket is his leather jacket. I just have that hanging in the closet, but I have that. That means something to me. This doesn't really mean that in 200 years it's going to be hanging up in a museum somewhere because it was a police officer's jacket. Just who knows what's going to happen to it, but yeah,
yeah, it doesn't have to be something of worth or value, like monetary value. It doesn't have to. I learned that a long time ago. Like a lot of people think, you know, um, a lot of people think like it has to be expensive or it has to be, a highfalutin thing. And it really doesn't. As long as you loved it or somebody loved it, they loved it enough to pass it on, that adds a layer to it. It's value. I learned a long time ago, value isn't necessarily the dollar sign you put to it. I may tell you, for mathematical purposes, and by the way, disclaimer, I should never be left alone with numbers unsupervised. So I'm just using this as an example. I say to you, you hand me your ring and I give you a value for mathematical purposes of like, it's $4,000. Okay. That's all well and good, but to you, it's priceless.
priceless.
And that's all that matters
Yep.
at the end of the day. Whatever I put on that paper doesn't matter. It's you who felt that that it's important, and it
Right.
was important enough for you to wear every day, and it's important enough for you to pass on to the next generation. So you're wearing it now for you, and then you'll pass it on so they remember you. And
Right.
so there's your, that's your potential haunting, maybe.
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you
and
100%.
that paper is irrelevant.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
you know,
Yep. I agree with you. I'm on board with this. Frank says that importance a person makes on an object goes beyond, oh, I don't know why I'm yawning too much, goes beyond money to the point it almost takes on a life or an essence or an energy of its own. But the value a person puts on something over a lifetime is incredible.
you're so right.
I like that. I
Frank's
like
a
that.
good friend.
I like that, Frank. I really
Yeah,
do.
he grew up in a house full of antiques himself. So yeah.
I'm the only antiquer. I have 6 brothers and a sister, and I am the only one that loves antiques, and I'm an antiquer. And like they all make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, Tar," they'd be like, "You want this? It's vintage." I'm like, "Get out, get out, get out of here!" Like when they want to get rid of something, it could be they just bought it from IKEA the yesterday, and they'll be like, "It's vintage. Do you want it?" I'm like, "Shut up!" They bust my chops all the time.
You know who else is really good at antiques and vintage? And hopefully he'll forgive me. He can yell at me in VC later. But Dust, he's very good at it. He
Oh,
loves that kind of stuff.
yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
especially old cars, things like that.
Me too. I go to car shows all the time. I love it. I love old military, like anything like old military, like planes, vehicles, like the army vehicles and the tankers and all that stuff. Like I love going to all that kind of stuff. I love going to air shows and seeing the old planes flying around, the new planes flying around. I love all that. I don't know why I keep yawning. You're not boring. This is a very good show, but for
You
some
worked all
people,
day. I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, of course, it's going to be me here pretty soon, I'm sure. The fact that, they say yawns are contagious, the fact that you've been yawning and I haven't, okay, now I'm probably going
yeah,
to. But I'm right there with you. I feel it behind the eyeballs.
I can't believe it. I'm like, what is happening right now? I
What
wish
is
I could
happening to
find,
me?
yeah, I wish I could find my that one coin. Um, I just don't know where it's at. I have all kinds of cool stuff. I have all kinds of like, um, Joan said she's been yawning. Sorry, Joni. Maybe you're making me
Why'd you do
yawn.
that?
Stop yawning.
Hello, Joan. She's so funny.
Oh my god, she is so funny. We're in a
you
chat.
know, oh, no, go ahead. Sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was like,
I
we're in
didn't
a
hear
chat
you.
together, and she cracks me up. Like
Mhm.
like she is so funny, and I would watch her show, and her show's good. I love Ladies Fright. I love her show, but she's like behind the scenes is so funny.
Mhm.
Like I laugh out loud at her at some of the stuff she says, like hardcore.
You know who else is funny that I don't think people know is funny? Florio. She's hilarious.
Gloria's funny.
Florio's
Gloria,
funny. She'll drop a one-liner you didn't even see coming.
she really does. She does do that too. Yes, she's very funny. I love Florio. Um, Everybody has like a good set, but Joan cracks me up. Like she is like really funny. Like some of the stuff that comes out of her mouth, I'm like, man, I wish I was funny like that. Like I wish I could come up with stuff like that and it was funny. Okay.
My favorite ladies from quote is uh is when her and Dust were talking and they got into debate on whether you can trademark Jesus or Jeebus, I guess they were saying at the time. I'm just like, is this real? It was right. I think at the end of, I think she clicked the link. Yeah. Like, you can't trademark Jeebus. Yeah.
Oh, Florio's here. Hi, Florio. We just were talking about you. Um, you're yawning because you were up all night taking care of Pupper. Yes, my dog is sick. He has pancreatitis. I literally, I wish that disease did not exist because it is literally the worst thing to watch your baby go through. I can't even take it. We have him going outside to go to the bathroom every half hour, 45 minutes, like all night long. So, yes, that is why. Was that a yawn?
It's coming.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
And Florio says, I'm not as quick witted as Joan. Once in a while, I'll be. No, 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 Florio, you're funny.
You are dang funny. You funny writers.
She
Well
is.
placed ones too.
Oh, she said she's been listening.
Oh,
She's been here, so she's been here. Sage, hi Sage. Sorry about your puppy turn. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a rough 48 hours, I'll tell you that. Um, and he's a little guy. He's not a big guy,
he's
so
tiny. I saw the picture.
yeah,
Little
he's
guy.
little. So he's you know, I'm just worried about him a little bit. But I've had my cats had pancreatitis and it didn't end well. So naturally even more neurotic about it now and more scared and freaking out. And I literally talked to the animal hospital 4 times today because I'm just, because of the bad experience I had with it before. But, um, you know, hopefully the next couple days he'll start to have turnaround. I have him on the probiotics and all kinds of stuff, and hopefully it'll turn around. And this is the only instance that he'll have of it. Uh,
Yeah.
Nice.
It's you got everybody, there's always love for an animal. It's tough when one is struggling, You
Yes,
never want to see that. You and I talked about that. We'll both cry at the drop of a hat. Um, yeah, if something happened to my kitties, I would not have a good day. So I totally understand
yeah.
completely.
Joan says, "All guys, oh, I work well off others. I know I'm not good at writing a joke, but I can talk back with the best of them."
You can. That's very good. You're very, very funny.
So, with that being said, did we talk about everything you wanted to talk about?
We were talking objects pretty good. Yeah, I think we nailed that. We got a list of possibilities and
Yeah,
covered all kinds of objects, houses, Harry
yeah.
Houdini even. Yeah, I think we're good.
And now I know, like, now I'm going to be like sending you all kinds of pictures of all my stuff. I'm like, oh, check this out, check this out.
I love it. I love when people just like anyone can. Uh, Send me, email them to me, drop them into Facebook. Yes, send me the things. I love all the things.
So if somebody did want to reach out, how could somebody find you to reach out? If they wanted you to, help out with an item, or you know what I mean, like if they have any antiques that they have questions about, or any coins or jewelry or anything like that, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I can found at
I'll say it again because it's breaking up a little bit.
sorry. I can be found. So the main publication is always the best way to get a hold of me. You can reach me at info@caliberandquill.com or at www.caliberandquill.com. For the paranormal side, Carnival Press is an imprint of Caliber and Quill, and that is the website is www.carnivalpress.com. Or you can find me on Facebook now. You can instant message me. I'm always available. It might take me a few minutes if I'm on the sales floor, but I usually get back to you real quick.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
prefer the instant. Caliber and Quill, actually, just do that. It's the Facebook. If you're looking to communicate with me quickly, go to either Caliber and Quill's Facebook or Carnival Press's Facebook. I will answer you as soon as I'm available. But yeah, the website is great. I I believe, and this is a big thing for me. I believe in always attempting to keeping my articles free because it is important that we all have access to information and ideas. So the way I do that is through the merch or donations. So that's on the website if you can do that. However, support also comes from word of mouth too. So if you spread the word, I will be forever, ever grateful. That would
Yes.
be
And,
wonderful.
and, and as I always say, please, people, share the show out, not for me and not for Paranormal Brew, but for Rebekka and Carnival Press. Am I saying that? Carnival Press?
Yep.
Carnival Press and Carnival and Quill?
Caliber and Quill.
Caliber and Quill. Please share the show out to get her out there and to get more people going to her page and and to her pages and everything like that. Not for me, not for Paranormal Brew. I don't do this for money. I never have and I never will. But please share it out for Rebekka and her pages and stuff, if you will. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yes, I appreciate you guys more than I can tell you. I just don't like putting my articles behind a paywall, and if I can avoid it, that's always the plan. So I
This
appreciate
is
any kind of
and
help.
this is Rebekka's first podcast,
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is my very first
and you did
paranormal.
amazing.
Oh, thank you. So well, yeah, I tried. Like,
You did so
I
good, and I'm
this
happy that I
us.
was your first.
Yeah, I am too. This was really, really comfortable and nice, and we had a really good conversation. I love having conversations like this. Uh, I didn't learn what I learned just from the shows. It was so important to me, like to talk to other. Like I used to go and just talk to someone about the paranormal, just to get their thoughts. I was doing journalism prior to, like I said, different kind of journalism, but you learn what people are looking for either on the sales floor or for a paper or whatever, asking questions. And so I would just ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I mean, that's how you learn, and asking questions and stuff. And I wish you all the best on your endeavors and with your future articles. Like I said, her articles are linked at the bottom of the description of this video and on the Facebook pages. Her articles are linked. Check them out. And look her up. Share the show out for her and her business, please. I greatly, I'm sure she would appreciate it. I appreciate it. And Rebekka, you're more than welcome to come on whenever you want. If
Thank you
you ever
so
want to come
much.
on and talk about whatever, come on and we can talk about it.
I appreciate it.
I
Thank you
enjoyed
for
having you.
everything.
I had enjoyed having you, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Yes.
Um, and I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you. I'm sure Rebekka, thank you so much for the support. Frank, it was nice meeting you. Thank you for your input. Dust,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Frank.
everybody. Everybody, thanks for being here. And then on that note, as I say, until next time, sweet dreams, everybody.
Good night, everyone.